Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, what condition my condition was in.
Alone. What's the longest flight you ever taken in your life?
Ooh, longest flight? Actually, just cross country. So about 5 hours, 5.5, maybe.
Okay, not to brag, I did two 10 plus hour flights in 1 week. And
Oh,
now I feel like I can take on any flight, any delay, any weight in my life, which is sitting on an airplane for that amount of time going to Italy. Not only that, I fucked up. I fucked up on a lot of accounts, but I fucked up with me picking my seat right next to the bathroom and me not being able to recline my chair fully. I did that.
okay.
Yeah, I did that with both flights. Didn't realize that I picked uh, the the seats that have partitions between, I guess, the next row of seats right between the bathroom. So yeah, but I'll tell you what, Alon, Italy's a beautiful place.
Uh huh.
Italy is fantastic. Got to go to the Colosseum, the Forum, the Pantheon area, and I felt like I was in Mission Impossible or James Bond. I thought I was in an action movie, where like they go to these luxurious locations just because the movie's expensive as hell and they can do that. But I felt like I was like walking down those alleys and people are going to come after me. Um, but yeah, man, I don't recommend going to Italy on such a short trip. 3 days. I left on Wednesday, got in Thursday afternoon, got to my sister's welcome party in Italy, then got the day to myself to go tour Italy, Rome, I should say, where I went to the Colosseum and the Forum. Me and my little brother checked out a little World Cup, some football, and we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. A little cafe that was near our Airbnb, and then went to the wedding. And yeah, dude, I think I was up for 24 hours straight, going from the wedding, sleeping for a little bit, and then having to leave my Airbnb early because my little brother had screwed up the checkout times. Left at 11 o'clock. My flight wasn't until 3:40. Yeah, dude, it was a fucking journey, but I got to experience Italy. I hope later on in life I get to do it a little longer, but yeah, that was a hell of a 3 days.
Wow. Well, that's you're a world traveler, Derek, and yeah, the bathroom seat I think on paper makes a lot of sense. Like easy access, more room, you think, but then no reclining then happens. That's pretty terrible. Did you stop anywhere else? Did you have any long layovers? I guess I would ask.
No, dude, thank God it was a straight shot. I was on United, so and dude, you know, it was great the three meals they give you, but also like it's not the best easy access because three meals you have to use the bathroom. So I was waking people up and having to go, and for 12-hour flight, that's bound to happen. But yeah, dude, I'll say this: uh, the most like the most problematic part of the trip was me landing in Italy. And once you land in Italy, dude, like going that far. Like I was traveling by myself too. Like it'd be different if I was like with my family or group of friends, but I was all by my lonesome. And once you land in Italy, you're like, shit, I am by myself in a foreign country. And uh you turn off your airplane mode, and I'm like so naive and dumb when it comes to this stuff that I'm thinking like, oh, well, my phone will, go to Italy time and everything, and then nothing. My phone just freaks the fuck out, and then I get a text message from AT&T saying, "Hey, we didn't know you were going to Italy, so now we're going to charge you a little bit more. Don't worry, we'll help you out. You got to put your roaming on." And then you go through customs, and you're like, God, like, do I have my passport with me? Like I'm checking all my luggage and everything, and thank God I have it. And it's that whole process of, you know, talking to somebody, being like, what's your, state your business, business or pleasure, or why you coming here. And then once I get my bag, like I always think of the negative thing, like I'm gonna lose my bag going to Italy because it's so complicated. Once I get off or once I'm out of the airport, it takes like an hour and a half to get through customs, get my bag. And then I'm like, how do I get to my destination? How do I get to where my brother has the Airbnb? There was a long ass taxi cab line. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'll just go to the Uber line. Go to the Uber line. The Uber's going to charge me 200 plus.
200 plus.
Yeah. So I was like, fuck that. People were like, take the train. I'm not taking the train. I have no idea where I'm going. So I waited an hour and a half in line for a taxi cab. And dude, the whole time I'm standing there like, God, this is such a fucking process. And then I get like notifications on my phone like, oh, LaMelo Ball got traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's cool. And then finally I get to the front of this taxi cab stand and this guy goes, where are you going, sir? And I'm like, via Cardinale Buffon. No, wrong line. Yes, we cannot take you there. And I'm like, excuse me? He's like, yeah, sorry, this is this is a local cab. You have to go to a different destination. And I'm like, I waited an hour and a half in this line. They told me this was the right line. And they were like, cross the street, there is vans, van will take you. And I went to the driver of the van and they go, it's going to cost you a little bit to get over there. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I don't even want to say how much I spent to finally just get the fuck out of the airport. But that's the only time where I felt like I was getting hoodwinked, bamboozled by Italy. Got to my brother's Airbnb finally. And then I later found out about this great app called I think it's let me look it up real quick, but it basically runs like Lyft, free now. That's their equivalent of Lyft. And then I got taxis all over the place, but it took me 3 days to figure that out. Someone at the wedding told me about it. So alas, I was hailing taxis at taxi stands and no one would stop. Let me just say this real quick. Italy, great people, great food, beautiful. Some of the people there kind of mean, kind of rude. And, me, I understand we're Americans and, we're invading your land and we can't speak your language. I get all that. But, like, help me out a little bit. Help me out just a little bit.
Yeah. Also, I mean, bitter time of year for them right now, not qualifying for the World Cup again. So they're just angry. And, it's so hot right now in Europe, I guess. It's everybody's complaining and everyone's miserable. But you seem like you had a great time. You look well rested for a man who was up for, 30 hours probably at one point.
Yeah, dude. Let me just talk about the heat real quick. 97 degrees on that Friday. And Coliseum was fantastic. Of course, me and my little brother were making the joke. There was a tour guy going in, talking about the plumbing at the Coliseum, and we were like, "We've seen better plumbing at the Oakland Coliseum." And of course, no one appreciated that. But yeah, we were walking around the Forum, and dude, 97 degrees. I was about to pass out because we didn't have any water. They have like little I guess like spigots you would call it on the side where you could just people could get like water bottles of filling up or like dunk your head in. But I did that, but it wasn't enough. Finally, we found a water bottle stand and got some water. But like, dude, I was dying. I was about to pass out. Great food. My sister's wedding was beautiful. I'm glad I got to experience it, everything. But yeah, I later on in life, I hope to go to Italy for more than just 3 days.
Yeah, 3 days is just any international destination. I mean, unless you're crossing the border over to TJ or something like that. 3 days is too long down there. But 3 days is just very, very, very short in Europe. Man, well, glad you're back, and I'm glad it was fun. And hopefully you had some good eats, too, while you were there.
Oh yeah, dude. I had some hors d'oeuvres at my sister's kind of like welcome party when I arrived in Italy. So filled up on pizza, filled up on pasta, filled up on gelato. Had a lot of good eats. So can't complain. I'll be honest too. Like, it's gonna sound insane, but 3 days in Italy, I was like, you know what? I'm good. I can go back home now. Like, you kind of realize how you miss like USFA, like or America, like you just the things you're accustomed to. But yeah, I'm hoping later on in life I can actually spend a whole week in Italy and not just do 3 days because my company will give me more part-time part-time off. Anyway, yeah, I got some sleeps. I got some sleep every now and then. As you can tell, I'm a little jet lagged, but yeah, I survived. I survived.
Good. Did you get it? Hey, real quick, did you get any Roman pizza? I mean, you were in Rome, so you get it when they cut it with the scissors. They serve it like
Yes.
that. I mean, yeah. Oh, that's the good stuff, man. That stuff's so good.
No, dude, it was good eats and just beautiful. And I feel like I was on like a movie set. I felt like I was on, like Mission Impossible or James Bond or Fast and Furious, where like they always go to those destinations. It was so weird, but it was awesome. It was awesome, and I definitely want to go back. Just your opinion, man. Along to say, Derek Papa, we're coming to you on a Tuesday night, the first day of NBA free agency. It's official. Free agents can sign. Truth is, not a lot of great free agents out there. There really is only one, and that's LeBron James. Talk about that all tonight. Along with the World Cup, we got Mexico and Ecuador go down right now. And Mexico's leading 1-0, so we'll keep you updated on that. USA is playing Bosnia tomorrow. But let's start where everyone's talking in sports, whether it's the Bay Area or nationally. LeBron James, is he coming to the Golden State Warriors? So for the first time in a long time, Alon, it feels like this is actually going to happen. So let's just set the scene of, the latest. When I was in Italy, I couldn't sleep, so I would just look at my phone, and I saw a lot of rumors about LeBron James ending his career where it began with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I see Mac Van in the chat here messing around with me, talking about DiGiorno pizza and everything in Italy. What's going on, Mac Van? But yeah, so when I was in Italy, I got some notifications about some rumors. LeBron James wants to end his career with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And, I've always thought that he was going to sign back with the Lakers. Any report that was out there from Sam Amick to Monty Poole to Anthony Slater, it was all about LeBron James, the Warriors trying to pursue him, but ultimately them thinking that he's going to sign with the Lakers because it's the best place for him to make the most money and the best place for him to win a championship, to play with Luka Doncic and a team that was, pretty high in the Western Conference last season. Then I get off the plane. I finally arrive in the Bay Area, so tired. And then I see a report from Kevin O'Connor from Yahoo Sports saying that the Warriors' grand plan is to sign LeBron James and trade for Anthony Davis. And Anthony Davis has always been a rumor too. There's the connection, obviously with Clutch Sports between LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Draymond Green. But my initial reaction was, I don't want Anthony Davis. He's 33 years old. He's been injury prone for so long now. And I just don't want to take on that salary, and I don't want to do that. And then the next day, while I'm chilling, recuperating from my travels, taking the day off from work, we get the notification from Shams Charania that Draymond Green is opting out of his contract, $27.7 million. And everything out there was that Draymond Green was going to opt in. And even Mike Dunleavy Jr., post-draft press conference, acknowledged that was most likely going to happen. You had to believe once Draymond Green did that, that paved the way for the Warriors to pursue LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And even Shams Charania included that in the tweet yesterday. Kristaps Porzingis signs a contract with the Warriors. And we wanted that, but that was before, hearing for about a few hours that the Warriors are going after going after LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I would assume without Horford signing his contract of 2 years, $14 million, that Kristaps Porzingis would be a casualty in this whole thing. He had to go sign someplace else. Then he signs with the Warriors, 2 years, $40 million. Now, does that stop the Warriors pursuing this plan? No. They have to do a lot of roster maneuvering with the cap and everything. But Draymond Green essentially would have to sign for the same contract that Porzingis signed for, and they have to trade away Moses Moody, which, again, if you're going to Anthony Davis, you probably have to trade away the two guys that are recovering from significant injuries in Jimmy Butler and Moses Moody. But then the plot thickens even more today. This morning, Shams Charania tweets out that LeBron James is going to play this season, but he's not going to return to the Los Angeles Lakers. And that would have been surprising last week with everything leading up to this. It's not really surprising with how LeBron, I guess, felt he was disrespected by the Lakers, their pursuit of Luka Doncic, not giving him the heads up, them trading away his buddy and Anthony Davis, and him kind of feeling like he's the third wheel with the Lakers right now. So after 8 seasons, he's moving on to either the Golden State Warriors, the Cleveland Cavaliers, or you brought this up, Alon, the Miami Heat, which I'm surprised about given the relationship with him and Pat Riley, but I guess they've mended fences. So just your reaction to all this, man, where we'll find out where he signs. It's not going to be tonight. We'll see if it's tomorrow or Thursday, but it's seeming more likely that LeBron James, if I had to guess right now, is probably going to go to the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, I mean, all signs kind of point towards that. I would say the second most likely, beautiful goal by Raul, but I would say
Mexico up 2-0 right now.
I would say the most likely outcome is either the Warriors, with a second being Cleveland, but the Cleveland thing is there's only one ball, and that's kind of the problem for Cleveland, like, because LeBron is going to go there, and probably, his usage rate was far down this past year in LA. It did go up, of course, when Luka was injured and then through the playoffs and everything like that. But I just don't see stylistically that is the best fit. It would be a fun story, though, along with the Heat. Yeah, but I mean, look what they just did at guard today, right? They just got Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yeah.
And there's reports that they might also be going after like a Mike Conley type player. I don't know if any kind of update happened on that front. So that doesn't seem like the greenest of pastures. Now, you got this really old team over here in Golden State, but that might be the best option, not just stylistically, but for him to have fun as well as be competitive. I happen to think that if that team stays healthy, that's a big if with a lot of older players. But let's just say you have a starting combination somehow of Steph Curry, LeBron James, whether Anthony Davis is there or not, Kristaps Porzingis, and Draymond, and then you figure out what to do about Jimmy Butler, right? I think that's a really competitive team. I think at the very least, it's a 5 seed. I think maybe a 4 seed too. I think very similar to kind of what the Lakers were able to achieve this year getting into the playoffs. Now, once they're in there, let's see what happens. But back to the larger question about what I think about this with LeBron James coming to the Warriors, I think Mike Dunleavy Jr. put it really well. He said, we'd love to get younger. Obviously, that's what he said.
Yeah.
But at this stage, kind of the way that he almost said, we've painted ourselves in a corner without saying it, is basically what he said. And he said, at this stage, we kind of, if that's going to make the team better, we have to look at it. And they're looking at it. They're pursuing him heavily. So, the Kawhi piece is taken off the board. So that's kind of nice for the Warriors as well. So this just kind of clears everything out. I love that Draymond opted out because it creates more flexibility for them in order to pay other guys. The AD thing, I still think is interesting. I would do it. I mean, it's kind of 50-50. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer on that because I do understand the trepidation of taking him because of the injury history. He's older, some of his inconsistencies as a player, especially in big games. But, even if they don't get AD, and it looks like the GM over in Washington says they want to keep him, but that could just be saber rattling too. So we don't really know at this point. But I think everything is kind of falling into place. It looks like it's going to happen. And it's interesting because I think if LeBron was a year younger, definitely 2 years younger, I don't think he'd be leaving LA. But I saw something really interesting in the New York Times, and it said LeBron James is basically telling LA goodbye before they tell him goodbye. And I think that's what this situation is. And Golden State seems to be the kind of tailor-made destination for him. He gets to play with a guy that he played with in the Olympics. He gets to play with some of the smartest basketball players that there are on planet Earth. And he gets to play for a coach who is he's going to demand respect. Steve Kerr is. You're not going to have any friction between these players, LeBron James or whoever else comes in, and Steve Kerr. But at the same time, Steve Kerr is also going to be able to have the flexibility to kind of slam the hammer when he needs to if the team's not playing correctly. But he's also going to have this team of veterans where he can stand back and just let them play the game and play the system. So I really like it. I think it's great. I think the big question is, Moody's probably going to get moved, and that's not a huge deal after the injury. Don't know how he's going to come back, but you need to see what the depth on this team looks like. And I never thought I'd say it with the Warriors. They might need a little more shooting. That might be something that comes to bite them in the ass if they're not able to take care of that. So the first name that popped into my head was, well, Klay Thompson is probably on the move. You could probably trade for him pretty cheap, but do you really want to get another old guy on the team as well? That'd be tough. But we'll see. LeBron James, though, looks like he's going to come to Golden State. Very happy about that. I think it instantly not just makes this team a very fun story and a national story, but it also gives them the hope of deep competition into the playoffs. And I'm not saying that guarantees that they will, but it would be disappointing if that team doesn't at least make the second round.
Just to react to some comments in the chat here. Mac Van says LeBron should go, if this is going to play, LeBron should go to the East for an easier path to go deep in the playoffs. Boston Celtics might be a dark horse for his talents. Yeah, I don't think that LeBron at this point wants to go to Boston. I think that I think it's down to three teams that Shams Charania was talking about. I think those are the teams that have been linked all along. And I'll give credit to you, Alon. I did not think that he would ever patch things up with Pat Riley. But I guess that's the case. Of course, Pat Riley saying to LeBron after he left the Miami Heat to go to the Cleveland Cavaliers that you'll never win again if you make that decision. Also, my little brother texted me this. I did not realize this. LeBron had a whole beef with Pat Riley because he took his cookies on a flight.
Yep, on a flight, and that's one of the many things. This. Yeah, it's one. I that story's hilarious. It's one of the many things that they kind of, because Pat Riley's got a big ego too.
Yeah.
So, and Pat Riley likes to mess with guys apparently, and that's one of the things that he did and rubbed LeBron the wrong way. And yeah, just one of the things in their history together. But Pat Riley did have that statement. If he wants to come back to Miami, I'll leave the key under the doormat, basically.
Yeah, true.
So Miami doesn't look like. Also, he lives in LA. Like, does he really want to go all the way back across the country? Does he want to go to Cleveland? I think the Warriors make a big, splash with this if they get him, and it makes a lot of sense for LeBron James in so many different ways.
No, 100%. And just one more comment here. G-Pop Soy says, "I'll say it's a legit good fit for LeBron to go to the Warriors. It's a no-brainer, really." Yeah, I agree with that. So let me just, my 2 cents on all of this. Draymond Green you could say a lot of things about him, the way that he's acted over the years. But he is a selfless player and a unselfish teammate with the way he goes about things. Willing to come off the bench when he's coming off suspension for the playoff series against the Sacramento Kings. There's a lot of things in his career that he's willing to put the team first. And at this point in his career, I thought that maybe he would be put off by a year ago being in trade conversations, or, there was a thought maybe that he would be coming off the bench with, his lack of physicality against bigs last year. But LeBron knows where he's at. Draymond Green knows where he's at. And I think that he doesn't want to go anywhere. He knows that he hitched his wagon to Steph Curry a long time ago. So if it means that he's coming off the bench and taking significantly less than what he signed for a couple of years ago, then so be it. It also helps when you're represented by the same guy that represents LeBron James. But that's where Draymond Green's at. He is just an unselfish player, and I respect the hell out of that. Yes, you can say a lot of things about him, but his team-first mentality sets him apart than other players in this league. The same thing with Steph Curry, honestly. If this happens, Steph Curry is not only the greatest recruiter as far as a superstar, but also just how unselfish he is, where he is the star. No matter what happens, Steph Curry will always be the star of the Golden State Warriors. But to at least give up some of the spotlight to two future Hall of Famers, Kevin Durant and LeBron James, says something about his ego, where he doesn't give a damn. I want to win. So give credit to Steph Curry and Draymond Green for, doing a full court press here, and I'm sure Steve Kerr will be part of the negotiations. Maybe, I don't know about that, but there's differing reports that LeBron's at Cleveland or LA right now, so I'm sure that people are making their pitches to Rich Paul and him, but ultimately I do think this is going to end up with him being a Golden State Warrior. And if you asked me this 10 years ago, how would I feel about this? I would hate it. I remember, I'll never forget, I think it was the summer of it had to be 2018, yeah, because that's when LeBron signed with the Lakers. There was a report out there that he was going to do a sit-down visit with multiple teams, including Bob Myers and the Golden State Warriors. And when 95-7 got wind of that, they forced that story on us, and I was like, I'm not having this. This is bullshit. I don't want to talk about this because it's not happening. But it moves the needle. I get that now on radio, and I was a younger man. But I didn't want to entertain it because I couldn't fathom that. I hated LeBron James, hated him with a passion. During the Warriors championship days of the dynasty, I thought there were three villains: LeBron James, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook. Yes, Chris Paul was a nuisance, but he wasn't the alpha of those Rockets teams or those Clippers teams even, where he was the guy that's going to be in their way. And I actually like Chris Paul. I didn't like the personalities of all three of those players. I thought LeBron, the whole 2016 season with him, where Steph Curry unanimously wins MVP, and they asked LeBron about it in a press conference or a medium scrum at practice, and he goes, well, by the definition of MVP, I mean, I think I should get it. And Steph Curry's just like, whatever, dude. Then during that finals, Steph Curry's on LeBron James defensively, and LeBron looks at him like, are you serious? That's when LeBron James didn't have a lot of respect for Steph Curry. And they would jump back and forth at each other. The whole thing with Draymond getting suspended, Klay Thompson calls him out for getting his feelings hurt, for Draymond calling him a bitch. And LeBron, I'll never forget this press conference. LeBron going, "What Klay say?" It's so hard for me to take the high road. It's so hard for me to take the high road. You know what? I'm gonna do it again. I hated LeBron James during that time. Hated it. Hated him. And then when Kevin Durant came over, and I wasn't 100% on board with getting Kevin Durant. It's funny how that's 10 years ago to the coming up this July 4th. And history may repeat itself with the Warriors getting another superstar. But when I saw, or when the Warriors signed Kevin Durant, I was like, we don't need him. Let's just run it back with a 73-9 team. But then when you get Kevin Durant, you're like, I'm so glad we did that because we were such a dominant team. But I loved how Kevin Durant would talk shit to LeBron James too. But even after those championships, I'll never forget this. I thought in my mind that the Warriors hated LeBron James as much as I did, and they didn't. LeBron would do sit-down interviews, whether it was at a coffee shop with Kevin Durant or Draymond Green. They were sipping wine, and not a coffee shop, but a barber shop. And I guess that's what led to The Shop, his show on HBO. And then I remember them doing a sit-down interview in the back of a taxi cab, them talking about politics and basketball, him and Kevin Durant. So there was always mutual respect. I thought that the team felt the same way that I did, and that was not the case. And clearly that's the case where the last few years with Draymond Green going to Clutch Sports and becoming buddy-buddy with Draymond Green. And honestly, I heard Kendrick Perkins say this today. The most fun LeBron James has had in the last few years is playing on Team USA, playing with Steph Curry. He said in numerous interviews, if he could play with one player today, he would play with Steph Curry. He has respect for him. He has respect for Draymond Green, and he has respect for Steve Kerr. So I know how I felt 10 years ago, and my sports fandom has definitely changed. I am not the same person I was, and I think we all can grow up. I heard a lot of it today with fans calling in saying, I don't want any part of LeBron James. Fuck him for 10 years ago. And I felt that way. I felt that way even like last week. But if this is what Steph wants, then so be it. And I think that I can appreciate the player that LeBron James is and what he could do for this team and what he could do for this city. Because let's be honest, the 49ers are huge. The Giants, I think they're losing right now. They're 14 games below 500. They're a pain in the ass to talk about. This would be fun.
Mhm.
No denying that LeBron James coming to the Warriors would be fucking incredible. It'd be NFL numbers. It's the three biggest names in the sport, arguably. Not so much Draymond Green. Okay, the two biggest names in the sports. The two biggest draws, really, the box office, as Marcus Thompson has said to me and Copes before, stewards of the game. To be on the same team like that would be unbelievable. So I've put my fandom aside for this and just thought about where we're at. There's no other option here. Giannis got traded to the Miami Heat. Kawhi Leonard got traded to the Toronto Raptors. And think about that. Both the two biggest names, with the exception of Luka, in LA basketball leave on the same day. That's unbelievable. So yes, I've hated LeBron James for a long time, but you know what? I'm down for this. I think it's going to happen.
No, I've been down for it for a long time. I loved when they went after Durant. That's just my kind of fandom. I just want the team to win. And no, I understand the animus that a lot of Warrior fans still have towards LeBron James. And I wonder if that animus would exist had he not come back from 3-1 down. I think it would be a lot less. But all that being said, I just go to the basketball side of this, because if it does happen, I mean, the off-ball possibilities are tremendous for this team. I mean, LeBron can go play in the post. He can kind of play wherever he wants and get to his spots, and that'll be really nice. You can have Draymond really control things at the top, and Steph Curry can either have a heavy usage rate on the ball, or he can be an off-the-ball kind of guard too, because he's proven that he can still move even in his advanced age, and he's still really good coming off screens. I think stylistically and just what this team does on the court, if they are assembled, is going to be very, very fun to watch. But I think for Warriors fans, this makes everything more palatable. Yes, we already got kind of the feel-good aspect of Steve Kerr coming back and the feel-good aspect of everybody kind of doing a last ride. And now you're adding a superstar into the mix, and the biggest superstar there is in the game and in almost any sport, right? LeBron James. So, yeah, Marcus Thompson, the box office, he's absolutely right. As a business decision, I would make this choice, 10 times out of 10 just because of that. But it's going to give this season some life that it wouldn't have had, because now there's going to be a realistic expectation of, could this old super team do something? And it's going to be must-watch TV. And so I see Otis say, yes, Alon.
What up, Otis Bird?
Yeah, what's up, Otis? That season did play a role, so he's talking about when LeBron came back. The Warriors could have had a perfect season and be up there with the Jordan Bulls and the season that they had. They could have, but they kind of screwed the pooch. It didn't help that what happened with Draymond Green.
Yeah.
One of the things that's always unfortunate about the Warriors losing that series, not just because they lost that series, and man, this seems like so long ago, but that's because it was Draymond Green's performance in Game 7 just gets lost in the wash.
Yeah.
And that was the best performance of his career, at least when it came to a scoring output and just everything he was called upon to do. But yeah, this move is massive. And if you're gonna, go down with the ship, so to say, which is what this organization is doing with these older players, bringing the coach back who, wants to be there but doesn't want to deal with all the other BS.
Yeah.
If you're gonna take this approach, then this is the only kind of logical move. Getting younger here doesn't help you, and getting older, well, that's not great. But when older is the all-time NBA all-time NBA scoring leader, you do it. So that's what the Warriors are doing, and I hope it's fun to watch. I don't think it could not be fun. I think LeBron James, ever since that 2024 Paris Olympics, has wanted to play with Steph Curry, like you said, and I just love the fact that this is going to happen, and the Bay Area is going to be the biggest media story, at least in terms of the NBA. when it does happen during the offseason. And then when the season starts, they're going to have tons of national games, Christmas Day for sure. The other thing that's really nice, just from a Bay Area standpoint, we're about to have a very nice team being assembled in San Jose for the Sharks.
Yeah.
And this kind of gives us a year, another buffer year, basically, to where everybody starts going Sharks crazy and they start losing in the playoffs again and everybody starts going insane. As a battered and beleaguered Sharks fan, that's why I say that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's really good. Look, everybody wants to be in the market. Everybody wants to be the fan of the team that is always in the headlines for the right reasons. And these are the right reasons. So hats off to the Warriors if they're able to pull this off. Don't think about the future. Think about the now. And that's what the Warriors are doing. They're the LA Rams of basketball.
Seriously. And the Rams have more to look forward to in their future than the Warriors do right now because, yeah, most likely going to have to trade Moses Moody with this to make room for the mid-level exception. Mm-hmm. And there's the whole Anthony Davis element, which I'll get to. They would be old, no doubt about it. I keep talking about the final reckoning for the Warriors, the last dance for Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Steve Kerr. This would be them being the Expendables or, Wild Hogs or Space Cowboys, like any of those movies where all the old actors all come together. This is that. They would be by far not only the oldest team in the NBA, but maybe the oldest team in all of sports. But I think that's why LeBron James wants to come there, is because he felt disrespected by the Lakers for many reasons, but he just doesn't feel – everyone keeps talking about how this decision will not be based on money but happiness. It really is basketball happiness because he had everything in L.A. He has his production company. He has his family. It's not that big of a, commute from Los Angeles to the Bay Area. If he wants to do that every day, he's got jets. Maybe that'll be quick for him. Who knows? Most likely he'll get a house here and his family will come stay with him. But who knows? But it's about feeling like you're accepted by your peers. And again, LeBron James is accepted anywhere he goes. But it's a different deal where guys are in the same stage as life, same stage of life as you, where not only in life, but in your basketball careers. Steph Curry and Draymond Green can relate to LeBron James. Same thing with Jimmy Butler. He's looking for a championship. Those three guys have won, and Jimmy Butler's looking for that too. But, yeah, as far as schematically, how this would look, if you're going to – okay, let's say they get Anthony Davis. Okay. Well, he doesn't want to play the 5. And that always kind of frustrated me with him where he got dealt to the Lakers. And I remember that press conference where he said, I didn't come here to play the 5. Well, he really should have back then. But – he's older now. It would look like the way it is. Steph Curry would be the 1. Brandon Podziemski would be the 2. LeBron James the 3. Anthony Davis the 4. And Kristaps Porzingis would be the 5. And they needed to do that. I understand some people are like, why would you sign Kristaps if this is going to preclude you from making these moves? They have to have a backup plan if they can't land Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
So. And I don't think it's going to happen, honestly. I think LeBron James will come to the Warriors. I don't think Anthony Davis will. So when that became part of the equation, I was open to it, and I get it. You have to give up multiple first-round picks. You have to give up Jimmy Butler, who I love Jimmy, but he is an older player at 37 years old and coming off a torn ACL. I don't know how he's going to look. You have to give up Moses Moody, too. Love Moody. But it's going to be a long time for him to come back from his injury. So I'm down with that. I don't love the idea of giving Anthony Davis a max extension if this is part of the equation as well. He's 33 years old. He is not part of the future post Steph Curry. So, and there's multiple reports. Sam Amick, Mark Spears all saying that this part of the grand plan for the Warriors, not going to happen. The Wizards do not want to trade away Anthony Davis. And, you take that with a grain of salt. I don't think Anthony Davis wants to stay with the Wizards, but if they're willing to pay him, he probably will. Same thing with Trae Young, where he didn't think he was going to sign, but he did. So, yeah, I don't think Anthony Davis is going to be part of this. But I do think that LeBron James will sign with the Golden State Warriors because if you mention the 3 other teams, the Cleveland aspect of it, that's intriguing. But he already did his service to Cleveland. He already won for them. I don't think he wants to come back and change that. Now, would it be a good storybook ending? Yes. But then, like what we're talking about right now, like you can't relate to a lot of young guys on that Cleveland team. You got, Donovan Mitchell and Jaron Allen. I don't think that, and not to mention the coach, Kenny Atkinson. Not that he's a bad coach or anything, but like we know how LeBron James feels about Steph Curry and Steve Kerr. Then there's Miami. He knows Eric Spoelstra, has respect for Eric Spoelstra. He wouldn't be the go-to guy there. It would be Giannis. And honestly, basketball-wise, that doesn't make a lot of sense for me. A lot of sense to me. Where Andrew Wiggins just signed back, they signed Tim Hardaway, but like the size on that team, it's a lot of big guys with Giannis, Bam Adebayo, and LeBron James. So I don't think that's going to happen. Again, Steph Curry would be the guy with the Warriors. He's always going to be that. But Steph also is so egoless when it comes to basketball, where he's like, "All right, dude, you got it, man." Like when Steph Curry was struggling in finals games, he knew, "All right, man, I'll give the ball to Kevin Durant and get the fuck out of the way." And he's willing to do the same thing with LeBron James. And I think LeBron, he talked about how much he loved playing for Steve Kerr in the Olympics. And honestly, next to Eric Spoelstra, or on the same level as Eric Spoelstra, this would be the best coach that's ever been with LeBron James. And I think that he can handle all that. Yeah. So, yeah. Am I breaking up, Alon? I know you're.
No, you're good. My dog's going nuts. She needs to go pee. She's gonna go pee on my
okay.
freaking rug right now. So just give me sorry about that. I'm really sorry.
Go for it. So yeah, let's go. That's why I think this is ultimately going to happen. And there's other reports out there that the Warriors are coming up with other ideas. Once they get LeBron James, who else could be on this roster? And I don't know how the money would be after that, but I think that it makes the most sense for LeBron James to come to Golden State Warriors with what he wants to do, his family situation, the players that are involved. I don't think Cleveland would be great for him emotionally, but to play with Donovan Mitchell, I don't know if he wants to do that. And I really don't know if he, wants to go to Miami again, even though that him and Pat Riley are on good terms. I'm not sure he wants to do that all over again. He had a time and place with the Miami Heat. He had a time and place with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think it's time for him. I can't believe I'm saying this. I think it's time for him to join the Golden State Warriors. I think it makes sense. And what would that mean for their chances going forward? They'd be a top 5 team in the West. Would they beat OKC or, the San Antonio Spurs or the Nuggets? I'm not so sure. But it would be fun. I can't deny that. With how much I've seen LeBron James as an enemy and my father for years, Bonte will tell you, they used to get into arguments all the time. How much he hated LeBron James, the style he played in, and he thought he was overrated. And I found my father, in hindsight now, is a little bit too much. LeBron James, wherever he is, he's not the greatest of all time, in my opinion, but he's definitely in the conversation. He belongs with the likes of Michael Jordan and everybody that you can mention as far as, the best basketball player of all time. And Danny in the chat here. Come on, Derek, you always love LeBron. No, I did not, Danny. Stop that. But yeah, dude, I do think this is going to happen. And my question is, though, initially Shams Charania was reporting that in order for LeBron James to join the Golden State Warriors, Anthony Davis has to be part of the package. But why is that? Is because Rich Paul, knows Draymond Green so well, and they're kind of like the Warriors, maybe the most desperate team in this scenario, where the Cavaliers were just in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Heat just got Giannis, where now LeBron can be, a little more controlling with the Warriors. I guess because Anthony Davis is not going to Miami. Anthony Davis is not going to Cleveland. So LeBron's trying to help out his buddy, but also he may see this as a big ask, and in the end, he just can't get it done for him. So I'm assuming Anthony Davis probably stays with the Wizards and signs a long-term extension, where I don't think the Warriors need to do a lot of recruiting with LeBron. Yes, they got to have to kiss his ass a little bit with Steph Curry and Draymond Green meeting him. But also, that's just 3 friends hanging out and talking ball. I think it's where they know that he wants to come to them, so they don't have to bend over backwards a little bit. They think that as long as There's Steph Curry and Draymond Green and Steve Kerr. LeBron James is going to want to play for the Warriors. So, yeah. And back to the conversation I had earlier with Alon, where Steph Curry's recruiting power, like some people are saying, like this would hurt Steph's legacy, and I hate those conversations. But would Steph having to team up with Kevin Durant or LeBron James hurt his legacy? Not at all. Like, it adds to Steph Curry's legacy. And those guys came to him. Like, Kevin Durant left a good situation with the Oklahoma City Thunder to play with Steph Curry. LeBron James is leaving a lot of money on the table and to play with a future Hall of Famer, Luka Doncic, to play with Steph Curry. It adds to his legacy. I don't want to hear that conversation. It adds to Steph Curry and his greatness and how unselfish he is. So, no, I think that if anything, it's not a good look for Kevin Durant and LeBron James that they had to resort to this. It's not like a bad thing by any means, but no, I think that it definitely props up Steph even more. So, and G Pop Soy in the chat here says, still believe AD will head to the Warriors. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. I think that's the most challenging thing in this whole conversation as Alon joins us back. But I don't think so. I think it's just too damn hard. And the Warriors have to give up a lot. Who knows? I'll tell you this. If tomorrow we see the Warriors trade for Anthony Davis, done deal. LeBron James is coming. Even without Anthony Davis, I still think this is going down.
You think 100% if Anthony Davis comes, or as close to 100% as you could get, LeBron James would come here?
Yeah. I think that right now, if I had to put a number on it, I said 65 earlier today. I'll say I'm 70% sure that LeBron James is going to be a Warrior. If we see the notification tomorrow morning from Shams Charania that Anthony Davis has been traded to the Warriors, 100%. They're not doing this unless they get assurances. Like Draymond Green opting out of his contract, that's, either way, either he opts into his contract, gets the money, or opts out and gets an extension. Like, he's going to be here with the Warriors. So, that's not a huge risk. But Brian Windhorst brought this up today, which I thought was a good, a good idea, or a good thought, I should say. The Warriors are making moves with the knowledge of something. The Miami Heat are not, and the Cleveland Cavaliers are not right now. So, yeah, man, I think this is a matter of time. I think LeBron knows where he wants to go. He's not telling the Lakers, I'm going someplace else without having a team in mind. So I think he wants to hear Cleveland out. I think he wants to hear Miami out. But he knows where he's going. He wants to play with Steph Curry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree with that. So I kind of am of the same thought process. I think adding that one more piece probably makes it as close to a lock as it is. But now, even if that doesn't happen, then yeah, I think we're still in that 70-75% territory with LeBron coming. I also just, back to the basketball side of things when they're actually playing, I don't know. That team seems kind of clunky to me with AD on it. It's a very big team. They shouldn't have any problems on the boards, you would think, but the shooting is going to be an issue. And it's so weird to say that as a Warriors fan and watching this team my whole life, but especially during the Steph Curry era, is like the shooting has never been an issue. But I know Anthony Davis can play kind of a stretch four position, but yeah, from a basketball standpoint, to me, that team seems extremely slow. And I don't want to see this team. I want to see them play fun basketball. I don't want to see them have to play, a setup offense every single possession. And I feel like if you have a front line there with Anthony Davis, that's kind of what it's going to look like. And it'll be pick and roll heavy, which is fun, but it's not necessary. Let's put it that way. Anthony Davis, as good as that looks on paper, is not necessary for this team to be, like I said, a fifth or a fourth seed if they get LeBron James. And it doesn't guarantee, anything past that either. That's the other aspect of this, because Anthony Davis is not 27-year-old Anthony Davis. He's, early 30s Anthony Davis now.
And don't get me wrong, there was a point in time 10 years ago where Anthony Davis with the Warriors would have been a dream, but he's not that guy anymore. Yeah. And honestly, he never became that guy. Yes, there was a short stint with him on the Lakers where he was dominant, but injuries just changed the way we look at him. So I know, like, G Pop Soy in the chat saying, like, it'd be very interesting to see Anthony Davis on this team and Jimmy Butler. I'm very skeptical of Jimmy Butler's future and how he's going to look. But would I rather have a healthy Jimmy Butler as opposed to a healthy Anthony Davis? Yes. Now, do you think Jimmy Butler and LeBron James are kind of redundant on this team with a similar skill set? Well, I shouldn't say skill set because LeBron James is a better player, but in just the way they play. Like, how would that starting lineup look once Jimmy Butler is healthy? It would be Jimmy playing the 3, LeBron playing the 4, and Kristaps playing the 5. So
who's playing the 1?
Well, come on,
Steph Curry.
Yeah.
I would have LeBron James run point.
You think so?
I'd have LeBron. Well, I mean, we're almost in this era of positionless basketball, but I would tick LeBron's usage rate up. I would like to see him with the ball a good amount of the time. I'd like to see Steph play in more of an off-ball capacity, take some stress off of him. I would like to see Jimmy, in that 3 spot. He's the wing. He's athletic wing, hopefully, when he comes back. And then you have Draymond and Kristaps. I think that would be really fun. I'd also like to see Draymond operate at the controls again, too, like he did, say, 3 years ago, more regularly.
Yeah. I mean,
but when I say, like, I want LeBron with the ball in his hand, I'm not saying that Steph Curry's never going to. I just mean I do want to see times during the game where LeBron gets to play more like Magic Johnson rather than, let's keep the Lakers comparisons going, James Worthy down on the post somewhere.
Our guy Dom Peralta, and what up, Dom? Good to see you here, man. Dom brings up an interesting point here. The Kristaps Porzingis trade or Porzingis extension details are interesting. Makes him way more tradable. That is part of the equation too. We'll see if that happens. And Otis Bird is the word in the chat here. Says Steph, Pods, Butler, LeBron, Draymond / Porzingis are probably the starting 5 with everyone healthy and LeBron here. Yeah. I would say I don't think Draymond's playing the 5 anymore. I think those days are over. I think Draymond's okay coming off the bench. So that's what I think is going to happen. But yeah, man, I think that Jimmy. I would love to see Jimmy come back. I think that he fits the Warrior culture and mentality, and he'd be great with LeBron James. I think it's kind of a weird fit with their similar skill set, but also I think that they can figure it out. As you said, it's positionless basketball. I do worry about his future and what he's going to be off the torn ACL. Same thing with Moses Moody. Moses Moody, I give a little more, I guess more confidence in because he's a younger player. But anything's on the table right now. If I had to guess, though, I don't think AD's coming here. I think it's LeBron and then some other moves, but I don't think Anthony Davis is part of the equation here.
Yeah, it's kind of looking like that, especially after the comments from Washington that they're rumors that they're very interested in keeping him, especially after what they've just done with Trae Young and with their draft pick too. So we'll see on that front. But like I said, it's not necessary. That's the nice thing about the Warriors. If they get LeBron James, AD is not necessary for them. If they don't get LeBron James, AD is still not necessary for them. It's maybe not a path that you want to walk down. Real quick, back to the Butler-LeBron thing. Yeah. I think that they can complement each other in different ways. I think that offensively, Butler can still be, a decent isolation scorer and get some of those tough buckets and get to the line when you need him to. But defensively, I could really see him taking on some of the harder assignments if he's still able to move. And LeBron, it allows him to kind of be what I like to say, like a help defense merchant. And he can kind of roam around and create chaos, block balls, create steals, things like that. So I think it takes some stress off of that team defensively. So I think they could get along, not just personality wise, but on the basketball court. Where it will get clunky is there are times where Jimmy just wants the ball because he wants to get to the rack because he knows he can get to the line. That's where it could get a little clunky, but otherwise I think they could figure it out. But yeah, coming back from catastrophic knee injury, that's its own conversation for Jimmy.
Totally. So yeah, we'll see what happens here, man. But I got a feeling that LeBron James, I don't know when it's going to happen. But if I had to guess, I'll say Thursday. I think that he's still going to meet with some other teams, but I think Thursday he makes a decision. And also, this isn't nothing. The Mind the Game podcast that LeBron James does with Steve Nash. Originally, he did it with JJ Redick, but of course, JJ went to the Lakers as head coach, and I got to believe that maybe he's on the hot seat now that LeBron James is gone. Steph Curry did an episode with LeBron back in December, and for whatever reason, the Mind the Game account today on YouTube re-uploaded the interview. I'm not going to put too much stock into that, but that's interesting. Why would they do that?
People go, hey, everything's in the news with these two guys right now. Let's
get more clicks.
Get more clicks. But also, I mean, we know that players like to do. They think they're so subtle sometimes. They're like, oh, I'll drop a little hint here. It's like, you're not subtle. Like everybody can see the writing on the wall. That's interesting though. I didn't know that. I've never listened to that podcast a day in my life. You did bring up JJ Redick though, and they don't need JJ Redick the coach, the Warriors, if they do get LeBron. But what they do need is they need some JJ Redick style players. They need some shooters on this team. That is going to be the biggest deficiency, in my opinion, man, that they're going to need to fill. Because if they don't, they're going to have some great distributors and really just, the greatest shooter of all time is Steph Curry. But these wingers are going to be open in the corners and they're not going to be able to hit any shots. So they need to address what's going to happen with the shooting, because I think if you're able to put some like Mike Miller type players out there on the court, that this could be very fascinating team to watch.
No, definitely. So yeah, we'll see what happens. And we'll come back on here as soon as LeBron James makes the decision. Real quick in the chat here from a guy, Don Peralta, says, Derek, hope you had a great time in Italy. Next time, I'm your guy for tips before a trip. Lived there for a year plus. So happy to share. Did not know that, dude. Where the hell did you live in Italy, man? Let me know about that. Did you live in Rome? Like, God, a year plus in Italy.
Prison.
He was doing a bid.
He was doing
Yeah, Dom Peralta was deep with the mafia back in the day. And I don't know if you know this, Dom. I was there for 3 fucking days. So I wouldn't recommend it to anybody for that little amount of time. But hey, when Cumulus is stiffing you on the old, paid time off, that's bound to happen. But yeah, dude, let me know some of those details with Italy. That's incredible. Okay, other news today in basketball, not a lot, but the other plan for the Warriors this offseason, there was Giannis, which was a pipe dream, LeBron James, which seems likely now. There was Kawhi Leonard, but it sounded like Steve Ballmer wanted the moon for Kawhi Leonard. And years ago, the Warriors were trying to get Paul George, but the Clippers weren't willing to give that up. So it seemed unlikely. And Kawhi Leonard has 1 year left on his deal. There was all the talk about Steve Ballmer doesn't want to trade him away, but I always thought, like, does Kawhi Leonard want to stay there? And does he want to be part of a rebuild? And the answer is no. And there was only one team that he was willing to go to that was going to sign him to a long-term extension, and that was the team he won a championship with, not the San Antonio Spurs, but the Toronto Raptors of all teams. So today, it became official. The Los Angeles Clippers sent Kawhi Leonard to the Toronto Raptors for Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, 2 first-round picks, a pick swap, and 2 second-rounders. And, of course, this is significant because Kawhi Leonard won a finals against the Warriors back in 2019. He was there for 1 season, the famous laugh during NBA Media Day, and then him having a unbelievable season, going on an epic run, the bounce pass that goes in, or the bounce shot that goes in against the 76ers to beat Giannis in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then to beat the Golden State Warriors, albeit without Kevin Durant, with the exception of 1 game, which he came back and then tore his Achilles immediately. Klay Thompson tears his ACL. I remember being backstage with Bonte after the Warriors lost that championship and Kawhi Leonard hobbling around. But then just like that, he's gone. We all heard like he wanted to go to the Lakers, but Greg Popovich didn't want to give in and send him to where he wanted to go. So they sent him to Toronto, I think, for DeMar DeRozan. He went to San Antonio. and they win a championship in 1 year, and Kawhi Leonard becomes a god there in the six, as they call it, and behind closed doors, he's like, I don't think we can repeat. I don't think we're good enough. And just like that, Kawhi Leonard convinces Paul George to get out of OKC, comes to join him with the Clippers. And I thought that team was loaded with where that team was, the Clippers, the previous year, being a kind of a little nuisance to the Warriors in the first round, going 6. With Pat Beverly and who else? Well, I think it was Lou Williams on that team.
Yeah, Sweet Lou was on that team. Pat Bev. I mean, yeah, they were. Nuisance is a great way of putting it. Scrappy little team, team that's just annoying.
Exactly. Not to mention Montrezl Harrell, and then they add Kawhi Leonard to Paul George, and that was the same offseason. The Lakers got Anthony Davis. I thought the Clippers were going to beat the Lakers in the bubble. And then the Lakers blew the 3-1 lead, and then they never got there again. They got to the Western Conference Finals. Yeah, a young SGA. He got traded to OKC. That's right, Otis Bird. But the Clippers got to the Western Conference Finals years later against the Suns. But that team, that was the opportunity. And Kawhi Leonard, just injuries got in the way. So it's crazy that it comes full circle where he goes back to Toronto, ultimately probably retires with that team.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't think this would be another, situation where he goes there and goes, I don't think we can compete. It's funny though. The Spurs definitely could have used Kawhi Leonard's services this past season, and they'll probably need him this upcoming season. Kawhi Leonard, a player of that caliber, could have been the tipping point for them in the finals.
Yeah,
but him going back to Toronto, like you said, he's a god there. He can do no wrong, and the pressure will be off. That is a good thing for him. And it's a good thing for him at this stage of his career. The question is like, how much is he going to play? Is he going to get to Toronto and play a lot? I mean, if he plays a lot, that's fun. But if he doesn't, I mean, I saw Damon Bruce, our old friend from 95.7 The Game, tweet out, say, this headline screams of load management, talking about Kawhi moving to Toronto. But it's true. It's accurate. And so, that's the other big shoe to drop. I think from a Warriors perspective, I'm actually really happy that is not going their way, or that they maybe were never really in serious contention for them. It also kind of brings up something for me as well, is I wonder if Steve Ballmer is very anti-doing kind of any big deal with the Warriors, because that could also be the case too. I mean, the same state, not the same market, but you're in the same conference, et cetera, et cetera.
Same division, even though we don't care about divisions anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say same division, but I was like, does the Pacific even matter? No, of course not. So back in the 8-team era, yeah, sure, but not now.
Right.
But I mean, Kawhi going back makes perfect sense for him, makes sense for the team too. But talk about a win now decision, right? So I don't think Giannis made the right win now decision. I don't think Kawhi going to Toronto, it's not horrible, but it's not like the best win now decision. LeBron James is kind of making, if he goes to the Warriors, the best win now decision. That is realistic, because I know someone in the chat earlier brought up Boston. That's not going to happen. LeBron, that's probably the last thing he wants to do, is go play in that market with those expectations on that team.
No.
Not because he's not a great player and can't handle it, but I mean, come on, he doesn't. Could you imagine? It would be an albatross on his kind of career and his legacy, the legacy of LeBron James.
Right.
If he ended up going there and they lost, right? So, out of all these things, LeBron James is somehow making the win now decision, even though he might end up with the oldest team with no future beyond 2 years.
Exactly. And I think that Kawhi and the Raptors, they were a scrappy team that took the – actually, no. It was the Raptors – Raptors make the play-in? Yeah, right?
Yeah, yep.
And who they lose to? I guess it was the 76ers?
76ers, and then 76ers advanced. And then,
Celtics.
Yeah, that's how that worked.
Okay, so they're a young team, and they need some veteran presence there. So, I think the Eastern Conference looks at the Knicks, and they got to make a lot of moves here. We'll see what the Celtics do with Jaylen Brown. But, I don't think Kawhi's going to win another championship at Toronto. I think he realizes that he left a good situation too soon. And he wanted to go to LA. Like that's his home. So it makes sense. And then everything on paper made sense to go join that team. But they didn't fulfill expectations. So to make it right again and to feel embraced by that community, I don't fault him for that. So good on him to go back to Toronto and make things right. San Antonio, it sounded like Kawhi was open to going to San Antonio, and they told him no.
I don't get that. I don't get that for a minute. Real quick, the Raptors lost in 7 games to the Cavs in the first round. But that's what happened. Seems like a year ago already. But I don't understand why San Antonio would want to close that door, because I get it. You got Wemby. You're building a new team around him. All these kinds of things, right? But you can't tell me that they're happy with the debacles that they had in this series against the Knicks. And the Knicks were the team of destiny.
Yeah.
But Kawhi would have helped them. Kawhi gets them to a game 7, maybe.
Oh, definitely.
They might win the damn thing with Kawhi.
I would have done it. If Kawhi was willing to do that, I would have done it if I'm San Antonio. Now, Greg Popovich is still a part of that organization. I don't know what his current state is like. His health has not been great, obviously, was stepping down more than a year ago. Mm-hmm. Did they do this out of respect for Popovich? Because Popovich is a very understanding person. I don't know if him and Kawhi ever patched things up with that whole weird situation where people thought that in the Spurs organization that the Kawhi was milking an injury. And he wasn't. Like, I saw it firsthand. I just said it a couple of minutes ago with Bonte Hill walking around backstage after the Warriors lost to the Raptors. Kawhi was hurt. Like, he has something wrong with his knee that will never heal properly. But he finds a way to play with it. But yeah, dude, I think Kawhi in San Antonio would have been fantastic. But alas, he goes to Toronto, which I think makes sense. You know, I think that's a good end of his career right there. And now the Lakers and Clippers have to move on from this. So that's just fascinating that both guys, the biggest stars of both teams, LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard, leave on the same day. In other moves that happened, Ja Morant got traded to the Portland Trail Blazers. That team is loaded, pun intended, with shooting guards, another pun. You got Ja Morant, you got Damian Lillard, you got Drew Holiday, you got Scoot Henderson. They got another guy on that team that plays point.
They got Drew, Dame, Ja. I mean that's about.
It's a lot of shooters.
Yeah, it's it is. I love Ja Morant. I'm a big.
Do you really
of the player? Of the player. I'm a big fan of Ja Morant, and we'll see how that works out for Rip City. But kind of reminds me of when they went guard heavy during the Lillard McCollum era.
That's true.
It's kind of the same deal. We'll see what happens there, but that's a big move. That's a big move. That would have been a massive move a few years ago too. That would have stolen every headline. And
it was for 2 players and not even picks. Think about that. The state of how things are with Ja Morant.
Jeremy
right now.
Grant and
another player. I'm forgetting who it is, but which makes me wonder if Drew Holiday's available in a trade. Could he go back to Boston, which they were huge fans of him during the championship run, and we're still waiting on Jaylen Brown. Wouldn't be the least bit surprised. I've heard this thrown out there a lot. Unless he comes back and they're able to mend fences, which doesn't sound like at this point, I won't be the least bit surprised if Jaylen Brown goes to the Denver Nuggets and you find a way to get Jamal Murray to go to the Boston Celtics.
Wow.
Or maybe even Aaron Gordon.
That would be really good. Either of those pieces could move. I mean, Murray could move for Denver because Murray's injury history, they're probably over that relationship. Did have a legendary run, though, when they won the title. Brown instantly takes them into contender status, I would think, if that happens. But and Aaron Gordon, nice piece, but not necessary to contend. Yeah,
so as far as the NBA offseason, it's been trades. Kind of like the NFL offseason where there was a lot of free agency movement, but the free agents weren't big. It's been the trades that have taken over the headlines. And that's, a lot of these moves happened before free agency started. I don't know, who's available free agency wise. The biggest name is LeBron James. There's Anthony Simons and Colin Sexton. And let's be honest, it's LeBron James. And then maybe a Jaylen Brown trade, but that's about it for the rest of the offseason. So When that happens, we'll come back on here and react to whatever LeBron James decides. But I think we're in agreement here, Alon, that we expect it's going to be the Golden State Warriors for LeBron James.
I agree. What is happening with Colin Sexton, by the way? I mean, he's on the move, but
he's a free agent. That's the backup plan for the Warriors if they don't get LeBron. That's what has been reported. Yeah.
So that's a very weird backup plan. In a perfect world, I wish you could get Colin Sexton on that team because of the speed that he provides and the kind of spark he could provide off the bench or in any kind of role. It would be really amazing. It would be like Leandro Barbosa on steroids, pulling back into old Warriors lore. But at the backup, I don't want to see that backup plan. I want the primary plan to work for the Warriors or for a team in the Bay Area for the first time in a while. Seems like the only team in the Bay Area that's able to swing big trades has been the 49ers with Christian McCaffrey. The Giants can't get anybody. And Devers, but and I want to see the Warriors be able to pull this LeBron deal off because I think it makes the season more exciting and I think it makes them a good team and not a play-in team.
Definitely. Let's talk a little World Cup, Alon. As right now, Mexico is leading Ecuador with what we got 65 minutes of play, so might be off before this thing goes final here. But yesterday was awesome when it came to World Cup. You got Brazil beating Japan 2-1. You got extra time between Germany and Paraguay, and probably the biggest upset of all time, would you say, when it comes to the World Cup, Alon, with Germany getting knocked out by Paraguay 4-3 in penalty kicks?
That was pretty bad. That was really bad for Germany, and it's been rough. It's been kind of tough sledding for Germany ever since they won the cup. 12 years ago now. So Germany needs kind of some generational turnover. There's some people who are like, oh, this is what does this mean for Germany? Are they going to turn into the next Italy? Things like, I'm like, no, they're not. They still have good players, but you have 40-year-old goalkeeper. You got guys in the midfield and on the back line who are in their 30s. So that's rough for them. But credit to Paraguay. Paraguay did what they needed to do. They made the game as big of a slog as they could, get it to extra time, get it to penalties, win there. But very disappointing for Germany. Good for the rest of the world because it makes their path a little bit easier. But disappointing for Germany. And then you had Brazil advance, of course, and then it was a good slate of game. Anytime you get two games that go the full 120 and then go to PKs. PKs aren't everybody's favorite, but they are exciting to watch.
No, definitely, and that leads up to tomorrow, where you got USA playing Bosnia, and this is going down at Levi Stadium. Some people are saying this is the biggest sporting event in Bay Area history that's taken place here. I don't know about that. You could make the case Super Bowl or Game 7, Warriors versus Cavs years ago. But yeah, I mean, internationally, this is the biggest sporting event. It's bigger than the Super Bowl. So there's an argument to be had. But just your thoughts on the matchup tomorrow between USA and Bosnia.
USA should be able to win comfortably. I'm glad that they could get an easy draw against Bosnia-Herzegovina in the round of 32 to make it to the round of 16. I do have some skepticism, though, because this USA team hasn't really been tested, and that's the problem. So they've been able to pretty much impose their will on anybody they've been able to play. I know the third game in the group stage, they did play a lot of reserves, and they ended up losing. Yeah. It was kind of a meaningless game, so we write it off. But they need to be dominant against Bosnia-Herzegovina. They cannot they can't screw around, and they need to keep the momentum going. And then, you probably end up with a draw against Belgium after that. Should be able to beat the Belgians, another kind of older team. And then, you're probably playing Spain or something like that. It could get wild. I did like what Dom said here. Yeah. Senegal beating France in 2002, probably a bigger upset. Yeah, because France just coming off World Cup, still, in 1998, still a dominant team. And then you get beat by Senegal. So very, very tough for them. That was a long time ago. But Yeah, excited for the matchup tomorrow. I was really excited for this matchup tonight. I thought Mexico would win comfortably. I was texting my brother before the game started. I said this should be a pretty easy win, and Ecuador's had their chances, but Mexico's played really well. Good false nine play from Raul, but I'm curious to see how for the USA how well Christian Pulisic plays, because he's had quite the recovery time now, and they've really been easing him back in. So I want to see him play well. I think for this USA team to really make a run, I think Folarin Balogun, the striker, he's got to keep playing well. But it's all going to come down to, for instance, Tyler Adams. He's got to keep playing well. Weston McKennie has to keep playing well. Tim Ream, even though he's 38, he's done a pretty good job. But I wonder what he will look like against faster competition as the tournament deepens. So let's just say they end up making it far enough to play a Spain, right? Well, Spain poses a lot of problems for a lot of people, but they could pose problems for the United States with relative ease with Ferran Torres and Lamine Yamal, just different guys that they have. They're a very good footballing nation. So, yeah, I'm excited for tomorrow's matchup. It should be a party. That's what I'm happy about. Tomorrow should be a party for the USA. Let's keep it going. Get through Belgium, who will probably win their matchup, and then we get to dream. We get to talk about, could this team actually do it? And it would be pretty amazing.
Yeah, no, it'll be a lot of fun in a year that we saw Team USA win in hockey for men and women. It'd be very fun if the men's national team go far in the World Cup.
I see what you're saying here, Dom. Real quick, Derek. I agree. I mean, he did knock the rust off. He did look decent, but that's in a game that's very low pressure, for instance. And I want to see what he looks like in a higher pressure situation against inferior competition. Bosnia is not as good as Turkey. And real quick, the game yesterday, I know the Germany game got a lot of headlines, but the Netherlands, Holland against Morocco, that was a
PKs too.
That was a fantastic game, and Holland has to be kicking themselves because they had that game and they could not seal the deal.
Yeah. So we'll be excited to watch that tomorrow. Go USA. Real quick, just some NFL stories. More Brandon Ayuk disturbing videos he's posting, and he did admit that he's no longer represented by Ryan Williams, his agent that we knew about for quite some time when he was doing his contract negotiations. Saying that the 49ers are predators or whatever the fuck he was talking about. He doesn't get along with Kyle. Look, this has gotten a little more weird, the fact that he's not represented by anybody. And also in the video, I saw Brandon Ayuk say that he wants to know if he's, the warrant that's out for his arrest for speeding, is that legit? He just needs to get off social media. And I don't, does he have some assurance that he's going to sign with the Commanders once he's released? If not, then this whole thing of him going to Maryland, this is creepy, honestly. And I know that his buddies, Jaden Daniels and Adam Peters, knows him. So maybe they're just doing him a solid once he gets released, and this is no risk on their part. But yeah, dude, it's getting to the point where it's disturbing to me. And the Niners are able, the Niners, they could do whatever they want. If I were running things, I just release him and be done with him and move on. But I would hope that the Commanders are operating with some knowledge that they'll sign him. If not, then this is sad with Brandon Ayuk, honestly, in my opinion.
Yeah, disturbing is it's getting to that point. It's really, really weird. And if there isn't some type of assurance, backroom kind of, hey, as soon as you're released, we got you kind of thing. If that's not on the table, then Brandon Ayuk's going insane. And even if it is on the table, he's still acting like a not rational person. So his people, whoever that is, whoever his most trusted people are, they need to get him off of social media, number one. Number two, they just maybe need to send a strongly worded letter to the Niners and just say, please release me. Please release our client. But this whole thing's gotten out of control. I hate watching it. I've stopped watching the videos, and it's just I don't know. He's going crazy. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And you know, not a nice word to use, but like, well, how
Yeah.
else do you describe this? This is more than just someone, you know, throwing tantrums or whatever, or making big drama to try to make a situation better for themselves or get out of something. This has gone beyond that, because he should have already accomplished that with everything else he's done, and I think he has. He hasn't been released yet, though. So I don't understand what the logical point of him doing all this stuff is. And if you're the Commanders, every day that these videos keep coming out, every day that these posts, these stories, all these kinds of things, does that not give you a little bit of like, should we really be doing this? I know he's friends with Jaden Daniels, but should we really be doing this?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard anything from Adam Peters. He's not going to come out and say this, but I've heard him in interviews with the Niners for years. He's a very, thoughtful general manager. So I would hope that he thinks about this before he does it. Also, with Brandon Ayuk, I get you have a warrant out for your arrest. I guess that's the reason why I won't go back to the 49ers in Santa Clara, but you need to do that in order to get out of there. Like, this is on you, buddy. If you want to get released, by all means, show up to training camp. But not going to be the case. He's already told people in videos that he's not going to do it. And I haven't watched any of these. I just get the information, people tweet out the quotes and everything. It's beyond disturbing. So I don't want to watch that stuff anymore. Very sad video that we all saw from, the NFL, community, I guess. Chris Johnson going on Good Morning America with Michael Strahan. And he says that he has ALS, and he now communicates through a different program where he doesn't actually speak. He uses his eyes to, find the words that he's looking for. But yeah, I mean, I remember watching Chris Johnson. God, it feels like yesterday when they were talking about the best running backs in all of football. Is Adrian Peterson and him. He got 2,000 yards in 2009, and the speed that he had. I remember runs against the Raiders. He was unbelievable. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just, makes you think, what happens to guys later on in life. Some criticism, I guess, from Dan Le Batard when it comes to Michael Strahan not asking, did he develop ALS from football? I don't know. I don't think that's the most important thing. I think that the bottom line is, Chris Johnson's going through a rough time in his life, and just sad to see.
Yeah, it was tough. I watched it, and I don't like that criticism from Dan Le Batard. I'm not a big Dan Le Batard fan. I think he says a lot of things where I'm just like, whatever, dude. But that's not the appropriate question. I'm glad Michael Strahan didn't ask it, because that was something I was thinking. I was like, I hope he doesn't ask him, like, does he think this is from football? And, it didn't get to that point. But, yeah, it was tough to watch. I mean, CJ2K, the speed, the everything he played with, it was amazing. And he was a great player. And, it's tough. He communicates through a computer. They were able to record his voice, and then, it's an AI generation or whatever where, he's able to identify the words and it speaks, and it's his voice, but it's not him talking. Right. Yeah. And so that's tough. And his wife was there with him, and obviously it's extremely hard for her. And, when you have ALS, the timeline is not long. So it was sad. It was really sad, because he said, look, I'm still me. I like that part. It kind of made me chuckle. He's like, my body just doesn't cooperate with me anymore. And It's true. It's not. But it was heartwarming to hear him say, look, I still want to be a dad and do all these things. Like, I'm not just going to go quietly into the night, basically, which is great. But yeah, it was a tough thing to watch. And I'm sure there's people out there saying, oh, does this have anything to do with his football career? Look, I mean, ALS is just, sometimes it just happens to people. Maybe there's something in there, but it was hard to watch. And so it's tough, because he's only 40 years old too. Yeah. And and he's still got a family, and he's still being a dad. And I thought one of the saddest things he said, a year ago, I could pick up my child to celebrate birthday and blow out the candles and everything. And now I couldn't even move my arm if I tried in that kind of way. So every day just must be really tough for him. It was tough. I'm glad Michael Strahan was the one who was able to go and talk to him. I thought that was a great move.
No doubt about it. So, man, we watch these guys when we're growing up, and we think they're going to be those guys the rest of our lives. And then reality sets in that, it's hard post a retirement or any point in life, illness, sets in. So very difficult to watch that. And yeah, that's it for tonight, guys. That's all I got. Anything else, Alon?
What else happened when you were in Italy? Let's see. Not much, Derek. It was just LeBron James watching World Cup. That was it. And I did buy a movie to watch, but I haven't watched it yet. The Super Mario Galaxy movie.
Okay.
And I was watching some Counter-Strike, which is a video game. They just had a big major in Cologne, Germany. They had a stadium with an arena about 16,000 people. So I watched that. That was pretty fun. But yeah, not much going on other than World Cup and LeBron James watch. So
all right.
Yeah, it's kind of like Favre watch, but not as good because it's not the NFL.
No, Don Peralta, he says here in the chat, $250 for the taxi, Derek? No, did not pay $250 for the taxi. Did not do that.
Were you about to be taken, Derek? You remember that movie with Liam Neeson?
Of course. I don't know what you want, but I have a particular set of skills. No, dude. Like leaving the taxi stand, I had to pay an amount of money that I'm not happy about, but it was not $250. It was not $250, and I fucked up. I should have known about this Lyft app service that gets taxis sent directly. Now I don't know if it would have worked at the airport, but after that, it was would have been easier. Like me and my little brother were caught in the rain one night. And we were trying to find a taxi, and finally someone showed up. We had to hail it ourselves. But, yeah, it was a pain in the ass. But I found out about the taxi service the last day I was in Italy, and I wish I knew that much sooner. But, yeah, I recommend anybody, if you have the opportunity to go to Italy, make it more than 3 days.
Okay, more than 3 days. And don't let the taxi driver say, hey, we just need to take a picture of you first before we
Seriously. Dude, I was so nervous on the way over to my little brother's Airbnb where I was like, just please get me there. Like, make sure I'm not going like I'm getting kidnapped or anything here.
We're going to hold you for ransom. We hear your father's loaded. We know Greg Papa.
Yeah, exactly. He's got, he's got roots here. Real quick, this is not like a full pop culture catch up. We'll do that more on the next episode or maybe on Sunday. But happy birthday to Mel Brooks. 100 years old. In my opinion, I revere the man. I have a ton of respect. He's the king of comedy. And the fact that he's still kicking at 100 years old. I watched that documentary he did with Judd Apatow, the 99-year-old man. There's going to be a Spaceballs 2 that comes out next year. I hope he's alive to be a part of that. So yeah. Love Mel Brooks and happy 100 years to him. Happy birthday. And we'll do more pop culture catch up. I'm going to watch The Bear. I'm going to watch the new Larry David show. And I got a bunch of movies I need to watch. So we'll do that maybe next time. But from now between Sunday, and we got to react to Joey Chestnut, man, going back for what muster belt would this be?
Yeah,
for the July 4th weekend.
How many does he have? Like,
I'm gonna look up right now.
He doesn't have San Jose's own, by the way. I just want to put that out there.
And I love Joey Chestnut. And you know this about me, Alon. I love the Nathan's hot dog eating contest.
17-time champion of the Nathan's famous international hot dog eating contest. Wow. 17 times. 17 times he's taken that hot dog, eaten the hot dog part, and dunked the bun in the water, which is disgusting, but helps go down
solid
easier.
technique. It's a solid technique. So yeah. Okay. So between now and Sunday, I think, are you down to do a show on Sunday, Alon? You
of course. Yeah.
So there we go. We'll react to Joey Chestnut going for mustard belt 18.
Mustard belt 18. Sorry.
And if LeBron James signs with the Golden State Warriors or some other team, we'll come back on and react to it between now until Sunday. But until that time, we're playing on Sunday. But I would assume that LeBron James will probably make an announcement before Sunday. If, be hilarious if he did it July 4th and it's the 10 years to the day of Kevin Durant signing with the Golden State Warriors. That'd be incredible.
That would be pretty great. And you know what else I want to see? I want to see where did Kevin Durant hit those shots against LeBron? Were those at Oracle?
No, those were in Cleveland.
Those were both at Cleveland. So I was
Yeah.
going to say, man, if those were at Oracle, I would love to see LeBron do a walkthrough of Oracle and just be like, this place was a house of horrors, but it was always great to play. Maybe they'll still do some content like that. I think that would be really fun because LeBron is as much of part of the Steph Curry legacy of the Warriors as, you know, those guys were.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with LeBron James, and we'll see what happens with Joey Chestnut. But we'll be back, I'm assuming, before Sunday. But until then, guys, to everybody in the chat, thanks to Don Peralta saying LeBron going to try and steal Taylor Swift and Travis Swift's Thunder announced they're on their wedding day. Was that happening this weekend?
Supposedly, they have MSG booked. There's been
So it
lighting
is
rigs.
MSG.
Yeah, and also 999 people have been invited. You know what? I just want to go on a little rant here about this.
Go.
I can't stand the Chiefs, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not the biggest fan of Taylor Swift. And she's marrying a guy who plays for the Chiefs. And every time I watch football, it's Taylor Swift this, Taylor Swift that, this, that, and the other. I'm just sick of it. Get married, and please just not on my television. People are like, oh my gosh, it's like the royal wedding. I don't care about that either. I don't care about any of this stuff. I do because and MSG really, like, what a weird place to get married. This is actually the part that really pisses me off. But who got married? Sly Stallone got married at MSG, right?
I don't know about that one.
Who got married? Someone else got married. Sly Stone, not Sly Stallone, Sly Stone, American musician and songwriter, married at MSG. But yeah, I wouldn't go this far, Dom, and the Knicks fans probably wanted to do it after they won. But I kind of wish the Knicks fans could have saved some of their rowdy celebrations for this weekend so they could make it just a nightmare for Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce to get in and out of that place. No, I wish them a happy wedding and a happy family and all that kind of stuff. Who gets married at MSG? I don't understand. Also, if you're getting married at MSG, why are you only inviting 999 people? Also, like, is Stephen A. Smith one of those people? Because he's got to be there. It's MSG.
Yeah, it's a weird venue. If anything, you would assume that I would spend 3 days at MSG and Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce would get married in Italy.
Oh, like with you?
No, not with me. I'm just saying, like, if you had to guess, like, who's going to Italy and who's going to MSG, I would go to MSG for 3 days. They would go to Italy for their wedding.
Yeah, no, that seems much more realistic. But
no, my sister did a better wedding than Taylor Swift, to be honest.
Your sister's way cooler than Taylor Swift. I mean, that's just the facts, man. But yeah, crazy that they're getting married at MSG, and I don't understand it. Maybe that's romantic for them. I don't know. Getting married in a basketball arena.
And they have no ties whatsoever. Taylor Swift is not from New York. I mean, yeah, I guess she's a Knicks fan. Or maybe she was just there because of her wedding planning. And yeah, Travis Kelce's a Cleveland guy. I don't understand. Anyway, why do I give a shit? All right, we'll see you guys when LeBron James makes an announcement or on Sunday, but I think it's going to be a little sooner than that. To everybody in the chat, to Mac Van, to Pat H, to Don Peralta, to Otis Bird is the word, to I saw Ernie 1. I think G-Pop Soy tagged you for a little bit of time, tell me to eat shit while he's in Hawaii. That's lame of you, man. You're in Hawaii and yet you're on the YouTube chat. That's pretty lame. Anybody else? Danny Dunn.
Daniel Shabazz.
What's that?
Daniel Shabazz.
And I believe that is it. All right, guys. We will see you when LeBron James makes his announcement. Until then, Alon, say what you always say, my friend.
Hey, everybody here might think that LeBron James going to the Warriors is the biggest story in sports. But I think it's Joey Chestnut defending his mustard belt. So if you think it's LeBron James, that's just your opinion, man.